Up next, I'm going to have a student join us, former student Dontario Beverly, and I will just say that he was one of my victims in calculus, and he was just an amazing leader, and I'm so happy he's here to help us set the direction for this work. Welcome, Dontario.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me a part of this work that you all are doing. I really appreciate it, and I do believe that a lot of students, faculty, and staff will benefit from this work. I hope they benefit from this work. So a little bit about me. I'm Dontario. Excuse me for that. I grew up in Oakland, California. I was a returning student when I enrolled into the College of San Mateo in 2015. I had been out of school for about 6 or 7 years. Dropped out of school when I was kind of younger, headed down the wrong path, ended up, getting my things back together, trying to make an effort to get my life back in order, and I chose College of San Mateo to help me do so. Since being a part of SMCCD, I was able to build a lot of meaningful relationships with a lot of people throughout the entire district, not just at College of San Mateo and Beyond College, but also the Skyline College as well. So I'm going to speak to some of my experiences that I had as a student within all 3 campuses and share some of the things that help contribute to my growth as not just a student, but my growth as a person and a professional in general. So I will start off by saying that I feel like I got some things from some campuses more than I got from other campuses. However, holistically, I had a really great experience within the district as a whole. So I started off at CSM, electrical engineering major, part of Umoja, eventually became the president of Umoja, so I was able to build like a lot of meaningful relationships there. I took ethnic studies courses. I was a part of Umoja cohort, so the English course was also mirrored in such a way that it would reflect the same work that I was learning in my ethnic studies courses. I was learning things that pertain exclusively to my identity and who I am, not just as a student, but outside of the classroom, which I feel is very important because a lot of students, how they perform inside the classroom is directly proportional to what they're going through outside of the classroom. As time went by, I transferred to Kenyatta College. I was able to become a part of the STEM Center and STEM community there. I was one of Hoffman's victims. Hoffman does a really good job of, bringing students in, fostering like a teamwork environment, encouraging students to work together. And so that started my whole involvement within the campus there. And then after I got inside, connected with the STEM community, then I eventually got connected with Associated Students at Kenyatta College, where I became a senator there. During this time, by this time it's like 2017, during this time I had been to Skyline for multiple events. I've taken a few classes at Skyline. And so all in all, I would say that I'm going to speak about some things that I would like to see happen within the district collectively, as opposed to being able to get certain things from different campuses and a student feeling like they need to be spread out between all 3 campuses in order to get all their needs. So first I would like to talk about representation within faculty. I feel that this is very important for all students. I feel that the faculty that are teaching courses should reflect all of the students that are attending the campuses district-wide for a number of different reasons. First, it makes the material and the experience much more relatable for those students. The faculty can speak and teach in such a way that they can speak to their experience, and so the student can have somebody to identify with. I also think that different faculty members teach different material differently, and not all students learn the material the same way. So it gives a diverse teaching approach to where more students will be able to be reached through teaching. As Professor Powell mentioned, a sense of belonging is huge. That can be the determining factor whether a student stay and complete their degree or not. And as a returning student, I came in really shaky. I didn't have too much confidence about my academic abilities. I had dropped out of school young. Nobody in my community went to college, so it was just like, it was me literally figuring out everything. And had I not felt that sense of belonging, I definitely probably wouldn't have stayed in class to complete my degree, let alone a STEM degree, so that's very important. Also, I want to stress the need for ethnic studies professors and for those professors to be taught by faculty of color, specifically teaching the ethnicity that you're learning about to match the professor teaching you, because they're able to speak. You can teach history, right? You can teach a student what has happened, but nobody can teach a student what it is to be black better than the professor that is black, because that professor have not read about that experience, but that professor have lived that experience. So I feel that's very important and essential for a teacher's for a classroom environment. Also, there's less biased conversations. I feel like if you're black, if you're Asian, if you're whatever ethnicity that you identify as and you're teaching that course, you're more inclined to dive deeper into the conversation because you're not as uncomfortable talking about it. Some professors may scratch the surface or dig a little deep, but they won't go into the depth that is required in order for all students to succeed successfully and feel welcome, going back to that sense of community and belonging. Also, I believe that high-profile educational events are important. So, again, I mentioned that I went to a lot of events at Skyline, and we had a lot of events at CSM and Kenyatta as well. I would like to see much more of these events happen. Panels and keynote speakers speaking to different experiences that they've experienced, again, across all ethnicities and all identities, because that's important because the student population and the student body within the whole district is very diverse, and I feel that the keynote speakers and the work that's being done within the district should reflect the students that are there. A few events that stood out the most to me was an event at Skyline where Angela Davis spoke, and it was very powerful because I grew up idolizing Angela Davis. Like, I heard about her as a kid, and so to be able to be in the same room and share that space and hear her speak to her experiences, I can't even express the amount of empowerment I felt when I walked out of that event. And then also Tim Wise. They had Tim Wise come. He's very unapologetic in the information that he's delivering. He don't care who he offends because he knows that it's rooted in fact, and we need more of that. Also, another one to get more, controversial was when they had a panel of mothers who their sons have been victims of police brutality, specifically Oscar Grant and a few other mothers of high-profile police brutality cases. And to hear, and not just hear, but be in the room, you could feel the pain that the mothers were feeling. Like, when they spoke, everybody was crying. Everybody was tapped in and giving that undivided attention because you can feel that experience as opposed to just seeing it on TV. There's a certain level of disconnection there when you see it on TV as opposed to actually experiencing and seeing the pain in these mothers' faces. So I do believe high-profile educational events are also essential, not only to tell our stories, but also to help get other people involved and see that this is a very real thing. This is a very real issue that some students are dealing with. And then lastly, I'm going to leave with, I would love for there to be a space for Black students and all students of marginalized communities within the whole district to be able to talk about issues that they're facing. Because a lot of students are facing so much stuff outside of the classroom that people don't have no idea about. I'm going to share this experience. I remember I was in Hoffman's class. Math 225 was pre-calc, and we were going over quadratic formulas. We had reached a section of math where it was kind of complex because I had never heard of a quadratic formula. And I remember one day, October 22nd to be exact, 2017, I had came into class and we were all in the STEM center and we were studying. and I was kind of like face out, kind of tired. And I remember one of the students within our tutoring sessions was like, "Yeah, man, you gotta get some sleep. You can't be up, and expect to function properly in class if you don't have enough sleep." But that student didn't know that my cousin had just been shot that night, and me and my family stood outside until 2 o'clock in the morning waiting on the corners to come pick his body up. So it's just, you never know what students are going through inside of the classroom. Sometimes it's heavy. It's heavy, and if a student don't feel that sense of belonging and don't feel that sense of community and comfort, they're not going to speak on it and voice those opinions. They're just going to sit in a corner and struggle quietly until they either give up or something worse. You know what I mean? So definitely having that space for students to be able to speak about these situations and traumatic experiences that they go through in life is very important. It provides an outlet because coming from the Black community, we don't foster that outlet in our community, especially being a Black male. There was never encouragement to speak about my emotions, to speak about my feelings. So I came into college with very little experience with effective communication, with emotional intelligence. Because if you grow up and people telling you that you can't feel emotions, there's no way you can identify those emotions if it's been impounded in your head that you can't feel them. So, but students and males and women and everyone inside and outside of that spectrum are feeling these emotions, but they're not able to start to work on those emotions and process them because they don't, inside their mind, they've been programmed that they can't feel. It helps us focus in class, being able to just, set aside 15 minutes to talk about some of the things that students are feeling. It helps us be able to drop a load of that off and just kind of be able to take a deep breath and relax and then be able to better focus on the material. Because again, if you have traumatic things going on in someone's life, they cannot focus on how to write a paper or how to factor in the equation. It also builds community within the class, with the professor and with the students. So many of my friends that I have now have been, those connections were made through conversations like this. A lot of people, they can't even begin to fathom the reality that a lot of students are going through. So when they do hear it, it makes them empathetic and sympathetic. Oh my God, I can't believe you're going through that. They want to know more. They want to see how they can help. They want to have the conversation. They want to make that student feel welcome. So it just really fosters a community-like environment inside the classroom. And if that can be implemented throughout the whole district, I feel like the whole student body, faculty, staff, everyone will just be that much stronger, and it'll make the district that much stronger as a whole. Sure. So yeah, that's just some of the things that I would love to see implemented throughout the whole district, throughout each campus, in every crack, in every crevices, because it's vital and it's imperative in order for all students to succeed successfully, academically and professionally. I appreciate you all for listening. Thank you for inviting me to this. And again, thank you for the work that you all are doing.